Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And right over there on my right is Jason Cameron. And I finally got to see you today at work, first time. And I
Yeah,
don't know, maybe it's been a year or has it been more than that since we worked together? But didn't get to see you yesterday, or didn't
yeah.
get to see you
See you on
Friday.
Friday.
Didn't
Yeah,
didn't uh, get to see you all day until 5 o'clock today. We finally crossed paths briefly. So,
yeah.
yeah, how's it going? I'm glad you're finally with the team. And how's it been?
You know what? The more surprising, maybe I shouldn't be as shocked as I am, but just the shocking thing is how many people are just happy to see me on the
Nice,
show. Like,
nice.
like just how many people are happy to see me on the show. And I was like, I wasn't actually expecting that. But I appreciate it though. I
Awesome.
I I, I appreciate being appreciated. How
Yeah,
about
that's
that?
great. Yeah,
Yeah, so
well,
so it's cool. It's cool.
yeah, it was really nice to tell people that you were coming, and everyone sounded super excited, and they couldn't
Yeah,
wait to, yeah, welcome you in. And
yeah,
I didn't even know, because you've been on so many productions. I've been on so many
yeah,
productions over the
yeah.
last 8 years.
Yeah.
We don't even know who we know, but all of a sudden,
Yeah,
oh hey, I didn't know you were.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
haven't seen you in. Where
yeah,
was the last time I worked with you and when? And
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's one of the beauties of starting a new show, and especially a show where you've worked with quite a few of the crew before. It
yeah,
makes you feel happy. It kind of feels like going back to school. You're like,
yeah, yeah,
hey, I'm reunited with all the kids after summer, and it's kind
yeah.
of a really unique situation.
Yeah, man, it is, and it's cool, man. Like it's like guys, I was telling you before, like when I went out to the one set out in Cloverdale and ran into one of the guys, David, that I worked with on another show.
Nice.
As I'm talking with Andrea, he's just like, "Wait, man, do you know her?" I go, "Well, yeah, man, I do." It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that." It's like you would be surprised at how many people I do know. Like, and the other thing was cool. Like when I just ran into now the new foreman Keith, I know him well too now, right?
Nice.
And
Nice.
then he's just like, "Oh, hey, man, like, hey, what's good?
That-
What's going on? What's
That's
good?"
great. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It feels like a big family when you can get on a big show like this, and there's so many people you worked with before. And I
Yeah,
bounce around to so many different sets that, I get to know so many people, which is one of the big bonuses I find in the job that you and I do.
yeah,
You really don't get just stuck with one crew,
but
and you
yeah,
just intermix with them the whole time. You actually get to spread your wings and get to see everybody and get to see the
yeah,
whole full scope of the show. And the scope of the show is so massive. It's hard to describe. I was trying to describe it to you over the last 5, 6 months, but you've just been on the show like a couple of days, and all of a
days.
sudden you're like, wow, this
Yeah.
is massive.
Now that I've seen it and witnessed it for myself, I'm just like, it blows my mind. Like it blows my mind because now I understand, like from the top down or for the top, like the heads, how hard that show must be to
Yeah.
do. Like how on top you have to be on everything because there is sets everywhere,
Yeah.
are teams everywhere where you're just like, wait, which team is over there now? Like,
Yeah.
who's running that one? Like,
Yeah.
it's like the scale is on another level. It's on another level, and I think I can see why Lori at times was pulling out her hair because like that is a lot of stress and it's a lot of logistics and it's just a lot of everything.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing. I can't wait for you to see Minotti Bay set.
yeah,
That's the biggest set that we've put together, but the scope and largeness of many of the sets just are mind blowing up. I
yeah.
was out at the set. Were you out at the set near Panther Paintball today at all?
No,
Oh,
I
you
haven't
haven't
gone
been
to
there.
that one yet. Like that's the
Yeah,
military one, right?
the
Yeah.
military one. Yeah, that one is wrapping. So you can't, you won't be able to see the massive scale of it, but
Yeah.
so many of the items are coming from this international military
Yeah.
service
Yep.
guy.
Yep.
And have you dealt with him before or them before?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
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 Yes, I have. Yes, I
Yeah,
have.
and that's mind blowing when you just drive onto their property and you see,
Yeah.
the scope of things they have for rent. It's just
Yeah.
incredible, and yeah, that set was spectacular. It's being torn down, but just as they're tearing one down, they're building something else in
Yeah.
another spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bridge Studios. You always think when you say Bridge Studios, you automatically just think of the boundary
Yeah.
Grandview Highway between the two highways, and you're just automatic. But now Bridge Studios has another set in or has another studio in Burnaby, and then they have the big one that's going at Lake City Way there,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it's going
Yeah.
to be 24 sound stages there, and so
Yeah.
Bridge is going to become one of those really big players in the game. Martini Studios, we've been utilizing their studios a little bit on this show,
Yeah.
and the scope of them has become just massive in the past 3 4 years, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I was thinking the other day, I think we're using 7 different studios in this show, and
Yeah.
like no other show does that. They get one
No.
studio, maybe
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
sometimes, but
Yeah.
never 6 or 7. It's like yeah,
Yeah.
every week, every day, I'm blown away by the scope of this show, and that's one of the reasons why I really hope to work on it. When I heard that it was coming to BC, I was like
Yeah.
really praying that my team would get it. When my
Yeah.
team didn't get it, I thought, oh, darn it, I'd missed out. But luckily enough, I was wanted. They hired me,
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel I'm not even jaded yet because I've been on this, for about 6 months, and I'm
Yeah.
still just happy and excited and blown away every time I hit a new set and
Yeah.
see something new that they've created and started this incredible put together this incredible show and the massive scope of it.
Yeah. And again, like I said, like I saw what they did out in the island, and I was just like, like I'm like, oh, like what?
Yeah,
Like I don't think I've ever been on a show where I'm like, greens is huge. Like the actual greens department,
yeah,
they are massive.
yeah.
They got to have more people than us. Have to.
Maybe, possibly, yeah.
Yeah, because
Every
I'm like,
department has hundreds
yeah,
of people, so yeah,
yeah,
it's unreal, yeah,
yeah.
unbelievable.
It is impressive.
Yeah,
Like even at the back lot there in Cloverdale, where they're redoing stuff, like they're
yeah,
just rebuilding it, and I'm like, oh, okay, wow, like
yeah.
it's mind blowing.
I actually didn't realize that backlot existed until just the other day when we went out there to drop some things off.
Yeah,
Um, and that Smallville, yeah,
yeah,
was a whole town, and they've decided, yeah, they're gonna tear away a lot of the facades and put up
yeah,
new ones there. And,
yep,
yeah, that's a big undertaking, obviously, and for something that's been there for, I guess, many, many years.
yeah. Many years, man, and just I like like I was just there last year. I was just there last year for
Yeah,
Superman Load, like, and
yeah,
now looking at it now, and I'm like, they changed that much. Like I'm like,
yeah,
wow, that's just
yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. It's gonna be fun to,
yep,
complete this show with you,
yeah,
and then when it comes out, it'd be great to just bear witness to, what we saw put together and how it came together. And I hope it's as good as the first season and as popular because yeah, I mean it's such a massive undertaking, and I think it can only help our city for showing that we can put on the biggest productions in the world.
I think if you do what we've done now, Shogun and Last of Us back to back,
Yeah.
I think that demonstrates our capacity for like doing the incredible.
Yeah.
I think it definitely demonstrates that. It shows the level of skill that we have here. All you have to do is just look at those two shows and be like, oh, okay, they
Yeah.
got some people that can really do some cool stuff.
Yeah. Did you meet John LaValle yet? Our head set deck carpenter. Did you meet him yet?
No.
He did Shogun and said it was the greatest job he ever had.
Yeah.
And he's doing some pretty wonderful things on this show now. And it's pretty cool to see somebody that's that creative, that skilled, and
Mhm.
has the ability to take take a vision and make it reality. And he has a small team, but they've already done some mind-blowing things on this show. And yeah, it's neat to work with such creative people and to see some of these sets come together. Yeah, I love it. It's fun. And yeah, it makes things exciting. I was talking to some people the other day, and they heard that I had done sports reporting for many years and
Mhm.
covered the professional sports, and they were like, "Wow, lucky guy." And now what do you do? And I said, "Oh, I work in film." And they said, "Oh, that's got to be not as fun." And I'm like, "No,
No.
like you work on shows like this, it's
Yeah.
actually really fun to go to work and see things come together like this. And it's different every day. It's really,
Yeah.
really, really cool."
Like you just see the creative genius, and you
Yeah.
just see an image that you might have had in your head, and then it's like, oh, the reality is way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Way better. Yeah. I know.
Way like I said before, that subway, like the subway set, like what? What?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, cool.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. So yeah, glad you're on board. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a blast, and yeah, we always have a blast every Monday. We're gonna have a great episode again tonight. It's been fun. I had a really terrific weekend. I can tell you over the past 2, 3 weeks here, some of the best times I've had in years because the Canucks are just doing so great. City's embracing it. I wear Canucks shirts and jerseys almost every day, and I end up getting into conversations with people just
Mhm.
because their love of the Canucks. And can you believe what they did last night? Oh my God! Did you see Besser? Did you see Sealoss? Did you see this? Oh my God! What a comeback! And just
Yeah,
we get into these great conversations, and I just love seeing a city embrace it so much.
yeah,
I'm seeing, I'm seeing jerseys everywhere. I'm seeing flags everywhere. I'm seeing signs. All the buses are "Go Canucks Go" now, and
yeah.
it really electrifies a city like this when the main pro sports team is so successful. And I've been to so many games. I've had such a ball, man. It's been absolutely incredible run so far.
And the fact that every game has been a one goal game. It's like watching a heavyweight fight where it's just like
Yeah,
no ground has been given. Literally,
right.
no
Yeah.
ground given, no quarter given. It
Just
is
like what Max Holloway did, just
yeah,
like right in the center
right
here.
in the
Let's
meet me in the
go. Let's
center and let's
throw
go.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And it
Yeah.
is exactly like that. It's been awesome to watch.
Yeah.
And again, you got to give this guy more than just his flowers. Sealoff has been absolutely freaking unreal.
Yeah.
I gotta say it again. He's your third guy,
Yeah.
and he's playing as good at hockey as any starting goaltender in the playoffs
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. They said today that he has the best goals against average
There you go.
against any other goaltender in the entire playoffs.
Yep.
And he came in with 9 NHL starts to his resume, and he's just been standing on his head. Canucks got absolutely blown away by the shots last night. I think the shots ended up to being like 46-18 or something
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
And he was the reason why they ended up being in the position they were to win that game because he
Yeah.
stood on his head and he made such incredible saves throughout. And yeah, the Canucks have to really pat themselves on the back for incredible scouting and being able to have that many good goalies in the fold because I don't think that many teams, if they're down to their third string goalie, are doing very
Not,
well, and they're probably getting knocked out of the playoffs pretty damn quickly. So
yeah.
this is a big feather in the cap of the Ian Clark, the goaltending guru, the guys that do the scouting. the draft picks and the depth in of the roster. It's just mind blowing.
No, he's done such a good job. Like he found a diamond in the rough that was actually actually he's just a diamond. There's no rough part to him.
Yeah, right.
Diamond
Yeah.
already. He's a diamond.
Abbotsford got knocked out of the playoffs just last week, and
Okay.
that allowed the Canucks to call up a dozen of those guys so they
Okay.
can be around the NHL team. They can get some experience, they can get some
That's
time
cool.
close to the team, and they can practice and be ready if a guy gets injured, if they want to change things up. And
Yeah.
two of them ended up playing last night, first games of the playoffs. Linus Carlson, a Swedish guy. Oh, and also Nils Amana, another Swedish guy. They brought them in last night, their first games. Carlson looked fantastic. He scored 24 goals with Abbotsford this year. He got 60 points in 60 games. He had 23 goals with them last year, and one of their top guys. And he didn't look out of place. He was a young guy coming in as well, early 20s. Really seemed to be able to fit in well. And Ullman, he came in and he killed penalties, did a really good job defensively, and I thought both of them were really able to interject some youth, some energy, and I think they really contributed to the victory they had yesterday. And it's kind of cool that now Rick Tocchet has those guys to try to bring in as well. And you're coming from Abbotsford, great, you had a great season, and then bam, you're up with the big club and you're getting opportunities already. It's pretty cool aspect of it as well.
It's actually amazing. It's amazing that Tocchet he's hitting all the right buttons as the coach.
Totally,
where it's like the dude's playing like sweet jazz or something, where it's just like, oh no, I've got it. I got it. And he hasn't made one wrong move thus far.
No.
He hasn't made any wrong moves, man. So I credit to Tocchet. Credit to Tocchet and building this team the way it is right now, and just the fact that Silov is just awesome. And by the way, that young man has made himself a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, his agent must be just like, all right, can't wait to negotiate this next deal.
Yeah, it's like, I always knew he was good. I just didn't know he was that good.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, it's very cool. So yeah, it's been fun. Absolute blast. We went on Friday, me and my cousin had a really good time. Him and I have I went to a lot of his son's hockey games, and so we got a chance to spend some time together over the last few months. But this was even better. We got to go have some beers, really take in the game, have a blast, and and then they went on the road. They played last night. I was really I was really impressed with how many Canuck fans were there. There was quite often a "Go Oilers, Go" chant, and then I could hear in between those "Go Canucks, Go." So they were trying to battle it. Obviously outnumbered, but they were still in there trying to cheer it. When Besser scored what they call a natural hat trick, three goals in a row by the same guy. At least a dozen hats got thrown onto the ice. When they went into the intermission, they went and looked at the replay and realized that it was tipped in by another guy, so it wasn't actually a hat trick. So both guys did lose their hats, but I'm still pretty impressed with them to realize it and get their hats thrown out onto the ice. Besser looked phenomenal. Elias Lindholm, got 2 goals as well, and he was receiving a ton of criticism after they traded for him from Calgary. He came in, he scored 2 goals in his first game, and then he really wasn't producing a lot of offense. But he really has looked phenomenal in the playoffs, and I said to a lot of people, hey. Just wait until the playoffs. This is a guy that we want for the playoffs. Regular season, he'll be doing okay, but he's the guy that's going to really contribute and be the reason why we got him is the playoffs. And it's proven right. He's been phenomenal. He's been absolutely a terrific pickup, and all the pickups that the management team has done in this stretch run before the playoffs have all been working out great. And yeah, it just seems like things are just coming together so well. Just
Yeah,
like you said, sweet jazz. Talkett's
yeah,
pressing the right
yeah,
buttons. Management team
yeah.
was pressing the right buttons, getting them ready, and
Yeah,
it seems destined to me. They're two wins away from the conference championship, and it just
yeah,
feels like some of these teams that have gone so far over the years, it just seems like the right buttons are being pushed everywhere.
yeah, yeah. It does
Yeah,
to me too, as well. Like it
yeah,
just seems that everything is coalescing and going in the right direction.
yeah,
Like just everything. And
yeah.
so you're looking at it go because again, I always have to stress this. If you got your third string playing the best hockey you've ever seen on any goalie for a long time,
Yeah.
and he's just like, oh no, I got like it's like, oh, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That's literally never like tell me the last time a third stringer said, "Oh yeah, got it," and I'm the best goalie out there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever happened.
I don't. Yeah, I
Ever.
think you're right. Yeah, I've seen backups come in and play well and go on runs, but a third
No,
stringer, I don't know if this has ever happened. And
no, man.
especially to have the best numbers out of any other goalie,
Anybody. Yeah,
that's played all season, it's unreal. And veterans, and yeah,
yeah,
it's amazing. The Canucks will have to overcome a tiny bit of adversity tomorrow night. Their defenseman Carson Soucy was suspended one game today for his cross check to the face of McDavid. Did you see that shot at the very end of the game? Did you catch that?
I saw the scrum. I
Okay.
didn't see the shot though. Like, was it
So,
bad?
yeah, it was really bad looking, like really bad. So, the puck came around the front, and the horn sounded. The time was up.
Yeah,
A player shot the puck at the net. Seeloff's made the save,
yeah,
and all of a sudden you could see something happening behind the net,
yeah,
and McDavid slashed Sushi, and then Sushi turned back and slashed McDavid, and then um, Zadorov ended up cross-checking McDavid in the back, and as he was falling, Susie was cross-checking him in the face. So his body was going down, and then his head ended up going like this, and so his body was folding in half the wrong way, and it looked terrible. I was like, wow. Darren said today that it looked like he could have broken his neck. Like it looked like he could have just torn his head right off. And it looked pretty brutal. Sandwiched with two cross checks like that. And so, when they talked about it after the game, I thought, yeah, I could see a suspension happening. And sure enough, Susie will be suspended for game 4. So I think if he could appeal, but I don't
No,
believe he
he's not doing
will.
that.
And yeah, he'll just serve that. So they'll have to inject somebody else. I'm not sure who quite yet,
Yeah,
but yeah, there's kind of a next man up policy in the
yeah,
NHL playoffs because there's a lot of injuries and there are some suspensions that happen, and so yeah, another piece of adversity. But and the other thing that I wanted to point out was so far the Canucks have played 9 games in this postseason. They're
mhm,
2-3, 2 wins, 3 losses on home ice, and they're 4-0 on the road. So game 4 goes tomorrow in Edmonton on the road. Let's hope they can make it 5-0 and be up 3 games to 1 coming
yeah.
home here for game 5. So I'll be going to game 5, and if they
Oh,
can win tomorrow night, hopefully that will be the final game to wrap up the series, and we can advance to the conference final. It'll be against Colorado or Dallas, and Dallas right now is leading the
mhm.
series 2 games to 1. Game 4 is tonight. So
Oh, okay, man.
yeah,
Well, whoever comes out of that Dallas Colorado series is going to be tough.
yeah,
It's going to be a tough matchup.
very tough.
It doesn't matter which team it is.
Yeah.
But we still need to take care of our business first and get past the Oilers. And it gives me the sense. You tell me if I'm wrong, but this series definitely gives me the sense it's going to go 7.
Yeah.
It's going to go 7 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to go 7. They're so they're so tight. The 1 goal games, and it just
Yeah.
seems like, yeah, one team's going to get a bounce this night. The other team's going to get a bounce that night. And it's just going to go
Yeah.
ping pong and back and forth till it goes game 7. And game 7 here in Vancouver, man, it'll be electric.
Oh, yeah.
We left the Pint last night and headed back down towards the arena,
Okay.
just for my cousin's son to get a chance to see
Mm-hmm.
the festivities outside the rink, and there was thousands of fans outside waving their towels and
Yeah.
chanting and singing, and all of a sudden people started blaring their horns. And one horn went to 2 horns, went to 10 horns, went to 50 horns,
Oh,
everybody.
yeah.
And we're walking down the road towards my vehicle, and
Mm-hmm.
he said to me, "Wow, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life." He said, "Back where I'm from in Melbourne, the biggest sport is Aussie rules football and the
Yeah.
AFL." And he said it would never happen in Melbourne because there's actually 8 teams in the Melbourne area. So
Very, yeah. Okay.
no, the whole city doesn't celebrate one certain team. So
Yeah.
he said it's just the scope of a sporting team that gets the support like this, like he's never seen in his life. And I said, and just imagine one of these 2 teams is going to advance, and they're going to be the only Canadian team left. And there'll be some people in Calgary that'll never cheer for Vancouver. There'll be some people in Edmonton. There'll be people in Toronto. There'll be people in other cities that'll never, ever, ever cheer for Canucks, never cheer for the Oilers. But a lot
Yeah.
of Canada is going to be like, this is our Canadian hope to, win the Stanley Cup. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, the support is just going to start coming in from all over Canada. And
Yeah.
that's going to be cool to start watching, to see the watch parties in other cities and to see the support going behind that lone Canadian team that'll be left.
Yeah. And you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen because, again, like you mentioned before, last Canadian team to win was 93.
Yeah, Montreal 93.
Yeah. So it's been a bit.
31 years. Yeah, it's been a long time. So
no,
yeah, so that's going to be great. I can't wait. I can't wait for tomorrow night's game, and I can't wait for this series to keep going. The games have been spectacular and super fun. There's lots going on this weekend, obviously, with the NHL and NBA playoffs, and they're both in their second rounds. We finally had Lionel Messi on Canadian soil, first time ever. Got to play in Montreal. We'll talk about that in a little while. We had a UFC fight night, and it wasn't in the stinking Apex. It was in St. Louis, and I loved the crowd there. Wow, one of the greatest crowds ever. Actually, they broke the record for the highest gate ever for a fight night.
Oh.
And so that was incredible. And the support that you saw there was something that was to behold. There was some really good boxing fights this weekend. Really had a great time watching those. PGA Tour had a great event. Rory McIlroy was the winner there. MLS, Vancouver Whitecaps had a game. And this week is spectacular because it's Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. Finally, a fight that we've been wanting to have for years and years and years. They had a press conference today that ended up in a melee. Tyson's dad ended up headbutting one of the other people that's on Usyk's camp, and a bit of a brawl ensued. Tyson's dad, John, ended up getting a cut on his head that he had to get some medical attention to, and as if this fight needed any more hype, John is John Fury getting even more attention towards his fight with a headbutt to a guy.
No, of course he is.
Yeah,
of course he is. But in a way, it all hypes the fight anyways.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
It's all the pageantry of what leads up to just a super fight, which is what this is. It's a super fight.
Yeah. Can't wait. Also, there was the first day of square offs for Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. They had a press conference today, and they came nose to nose. It looked more like friendly. Hey, how's it going? Let's go for beers. They did not look angry, no animosity, no pushing, shoving. Actually, Tyson kind of went ha ha ha, smiled at him, sort of gave him a little jabs and stuff. And
Yeah.
I didn't really love that part of it because I really want this to be, a real fight. Will it be a real fight? I'm not sure.
How about this? Do you think Tyson's just being nice to lull him into a false sense of security? Where he's just like, ha ha ha. But then when he actually comes to the ring, you see an older Mike Tyson, but still old school Mike Tyson, black trunks, black gloves, and just is like,
No socks.
oh man, you're gonna get annihilated. That's old Mike right there. And he has that death stare at you, and you're just like, oh man, no, it's not gonna go well for you tonight. Sorry, buddy. It's not going to go well. So that's what I think. But I think more than anything, I think Tyson's just excited just to get in the ring again. Yeah. I think that's where his excitement is coming from.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I do want to dedicate this podcast to Art Jimmerson, One Glove Art, who passed away a couple days ago at the age of 61. He is and was remembered mostly for being at UFC 1, deciding to fight Royce Gracie with one glove. He had come into the UFC as the boxing representative. There were many martial arts and fighting disciplines that were introduced into that world, and who was going to be showcasing the greatest form of fighting. And he was that representative of the boxing world. He was on a 15-fight win streak going into that fight, and decided, okay, I'm going to utilize the glove to use a jab and keep him on at distance and not break my hand, because I don't want to jeopardize my next boxing fight that I'm going to have soon. And then when he realized that it was kind of a detriment fighting a guy that has jiu-jitsu experience, he unfortunately lasted, I think it was 2 minutes and 18 seconds was his MMA MMA career start there at UFC 1, but went down in history. Was always a guy that was highly regarded, and he became a MMA coach eventually, and entered into that world. I saw some retrospectives of him getting together with all the guys that were on that UFC 1 card, and he was just such a great guy. He will be sorely missed. Gone at a much too young age of 61. But nice that the UFC dedicated their night to him the other night, and I'd like to dedicate this podcast to him as well.
Yeah, no, he's very deserving of it, because it was iconic. I remember the first time I saw it, I go, "What's that going to do for you? That doesn't seem like that's going to be a good idea." I remember thinking that right away. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know, but cool that he made a career out of it. He went forward with his MMA stuff, and he'll be sorely missed.
Yeah. Okay, so we mentioned the Canucks. That is the Western Conference. Colorado and Dallas are the other representatives in the semifinal of the Western Conference. They are playing tonight, game 4. It's 2-1 Dallas in the series right now. Stars are up 1-0 late in the first period of game 4. On the Eastern side, the Hurricanes and the Rangers are playing a series. Rangers went up 3-0, and Hurricanes have stormed back now. It's 3-2 after the Hurricanes beat the Rangers 4-1 tonight, and really making a series out of it. I think there's been 2 teams in the history of the NHL that have come back from a 3-0 deficit. And so, Hurricanes are trying to become that third team. They had Evgeny Kuznetsov get another goal tonight, and Jordan Staal, longtime Staal brother that is there. Freddie Anderson had a great night, only letting in 1 goal on 21 shots. And I'm pretty shocked. I thought the Rangers actually, after going up 3-0, were going to sweep this series and finish it off. Now it's heading to a game 6.
Yeah, I thought the series was over. I thought the Rangers just going to sweep them, move on. Yep, they're done, dust them off. But cool to see that the Hurricanes still got plenty of fight left in them.
Yeah.
Plenty.
On the other series, the Florida Panthers have a 3-1 lead on the Bruins. The Bruins, or Panthers won last night 3-2. The Bruins were shorthanded with their captain Brad Marchand out. He suffered a concussion in the previous game. He missed quite a bit of time in the game, and then they held him out last night. That was a huge blow. And Florida has a big stranglehold on this series. Last year, these 2 teams faced each other. The Bruins had a 3-1 lead. Florida came marching back and won the series in game 7. Not sure, especially if Marchand's not coming back. I don't think that the script can be flipped in this one. Looks like the Panthers have the big time edge and could wrap it up tomorrow night as well.
I think losing Marchand is too big a blow for the team.
Yeah.
Like I personally think that, and I think if he doesn't play again in the series, which could be very, very, very possible, I don't think the Bruins can win.
They outshot them yesterday 41-18. So dominating performance, really firing on all cylinders, and I'm impressed. Boston was up 2-0 in the game. Florida ended up scoring the next 3 goals and getting it. So so we've got Bruins and Panthers tomorrow, 4:00 puck drop here in the Pacific time zone. And then Canucks and Oilers follow that, 6:30 puck drop in Edmonton. 6:30 Pacific time will be game 4 for us. So that's the NHL story for now. I actually think that I heard another suspension was handed down today. And Valeri Nikushkin of the Avalanche was suspended for game 4, so he wasn't in the lineup tonight. He's been suspended 6 months, so he will not be able to play the rest of the playoffs. He has been their top scorer, and he unfortunately has violated the player assistance program. I think unfortunately there's been a positive drug test that he has failed, and maybe just like Ryan Garcia, maybe he can be found that he's innocent of this when they do a B sample.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to work for him, unfortunately. I think this is a positive test that's going to stick, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe. Just quickly, could you believe that Ryan Garcia negative test after the positive test? Could you believe that he got exonerated? Were you pretty shocked by that?
Well, when you saw his reaction to the first positive test, I'm like, you know what? That kind of seems a little genuine. Like just the shock of him even having a positive test. So I'm like, because for me, that is one of your biggest wins of your career. For you to jeopardize that, you got to be out of your mind. Personally, that's what I would think. You'd have to be out of your mind to do that. And so when he was exonerated, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Because at the end of the day, you always have to wait for the B sample to come through, anyways.
Right. True.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I was a bit shocked. Don't. I was shocked when I first heard that he got a positive test, and
yeah.
then I was shocked that that positive test ended up becoming a negative test when they did the second test on the B sample. So yeah, call me shocked a few times here with this, but it's good for boxing. It's good for Garcia, obviously, and I'm glad
Yeah.
that if he was innocent, he was proven so, and he can move on with his life and his career.
Yeah.
NBA held the draft lottery yesterday, and the Atlanta Hawks had a 3% chance of getting the number one overall pick, and they got it. For the first time in their history, they won the draft lottery, and kind of blew everybody's mind there because 3% chance, that's pretty small, and good on them. They were able to pull it off and get the number one draft pick. The consensus number one is a guy by the name of Alex Sarr. He's a 7 foot one, 217-pound center out of France. So
Yep.
if he does go number one, that'll be 2 years in a row that a 7 foot plus player comes out of France to get the number one overall draft pick in the NBA.
Which is awesome, which is great to see. It just reinforces the international play that the NBA is now all about. But unfortunately, I don't know if you heard about this, but they're spectating that this is one of the weaker drafts ever, like for the last 20 years. So it's like, hey, Hawks, you did it. You got the number one draft pick, and it's one of the weakest ones we've ever seen in the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I think this Sar is a project. I think
I
he's going
think
to
he
be
is
a
too.
guy that will take a few years to develop, but you can't teach size,
No.
and they seem to train their centers a lot different in Europe and especially France.
Yeah.
These guys have the ability to shoot that three-pointer as well as, be super all rounded.
Yeah.
They are lacking size in the middle in Atlanta, and I think they probably won't be good for a couple more years. So if they can start building around him, I think eventually he could be, a talent that works out quite well for them.
Yeah, I think so too. And he definitely feels the need that they have
Yeah.
for the Hawks team. So, but it's going to take him some time. It's going to
Yeah.
take him some time.
The Wizards ended up in the number 2 position, and lots of speculation that they will pick Stephon Castle from the defending champion Yukon Huskies. He's a 6'6", 215-pound forward that was instrumental helping that Yukon team capture this NCAA championship this past year.
Yeah. No, he's going to be a good player, I think. I don't know if he'll end up being a starter at the end of the day, but I think he'll be a very good role player.
Yeah. Houston get number 3, San Antonio 4, and Detroit 5. And Detroit was they had the best odds. They finished with the worst record. They had the best odds, and they fell all the way down to 5th. Pretty brutal. It's not going well in Detroit, and you really hope that they were going to get a number 1 or number 2, but to fall all the way down to number 5, it just shows some pretty bad luck in Detroit continuing.
Yeah. You know what, though? Even if they had the number 1 or 2 pick, I don't know. Like, is it going to really make that much of a difference? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm sorry, man. Detroit Pistons, they got a lot of work to do before that team becomes relevant again. Like, a lot. Yeah.
The draft does go June 26th and 27th in Brooklyn. Looking forward to that. The Raptors, the Raptors ended up getting the 8th ball picked, and that means that their pick actually goes to San Antonio for acquiring Jakob Poeltl. It was protected if it was in the top 6, but it ended up 8th, so they lose it. So the Spurs get 4th pick, the 8th pick, and do they get another? I think, yeah, they get the 4th pick and the 8th pick, and Toronto's first pick in the first round goes 19th via the Indiana Pacers for the Pascal Siakam deal.
Awesome. Just yeah, we really scored big on that one. Big.
And I'm looking up and down, up and down, up and down the list, and your Charlotte Hornets don't have a first. Oh no, sorry, yes they do. Number 6. Charlotte is number 6. So hopefully a pretty decent guy there.
You know what? I was waiting for you, and I'm just like, maybe we just didn't get one. That's fine.
They just decided, Charlotte, you're out.
Done. You're so bad that you just don't get a pick.
Don't even get one at all. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, so anyway, that was the draft lottery yesterday. Okay, let's just talk quickly about the NBA and how it's shaping up. There was a game earlier this afternoon between Boston and Cleveland was dealt a massive blow earlier in the day when Donovan Mitchell was ruled out with a calf injury and couldn't play. Really giving them a lot of trouble. They only lost 109-102 tonight to Boston, which was pretty impressive. Missing out on Mitchell and only losing by 7. I thought, oh no, this is going to sink them for sure. They're going to get blown out, but pretty impressively, they had a pretty decent game. Darius Garland stepped up and got 30 points tonight. Karis LeVert and Evan Mobley both had 19 points each, and Max Strus chipped in with 15 for the Cavs. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown led the way for Boston. Tatum had 33 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Jaylen had 27 points and 8 rebounds. Drew Holiday had a really good game as well, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. And Boston now goes up 3-1 in the series. And if Mitchell's out, this is 100% done. But even if he comes back, I think it's already over.
It is already over. And when you just read off the stats for Tatum, Brown, and Holiday, they are literally almost the same stats they had the game before.
Yeah.
Like literally almost the same stats. So I'm not surprised that they're dominating this series because they were supposed to. And at least the Cavs fought well.
Yeah.
They didn't get blown out, which is what I would have expected, but they didn't. So good for them. But if Donovan Mitchell can't play, the Cavs have no chance of winning this series. None.
True.
It's gone.
Done. Yeah.
Done.
Mitchell's looked amazing. He's been incredible.
Yes, he has.
But when your usage is that high in the playoffs, and you mentioned it last podcast, he's incredible by going through the trees and getting those layups and getting so many baskets. But the possibility of getting hurt just increases that much when you're having to try to get the bulk of the points and that many shots are going up. And the teams rely on you that much. Good chance that you're going to get some injuries that are going to hamper you and even make you miss some games.
Yeah, and also too, I'm not surprised at the calf injury because I think he was already dealing with a knee thing as well.
Right.
And so, if you're uneven because you're dealing with one thing, you're more apt to get injured on the other leg or whatever, or the same leg. But either way, sucks for the Cavs.
Yeah,
very much sucks for the Cavs.
In the other Eastern Conference series, New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers, New York looked very dominant in New York. It goes back to Indiana, and Indiana just blew them out yesterday. 121-89, a 32-point blowout. This also comes down to, I think Jalen Brunson is just, he's been utilized too much, and
Oh
he's
yeah.
starting to wear down. He had a foot injury. He's had some other troubles, and I think that you're starting to see the fatigue setting
Yeah.
in to him as well as his running mates. And yeah, this series went from Knicks, they're going to be able to dominate, to look out, Indiana's coming back. I still think that if the Knicks can rest up properly and keep healthy, I think they can still win this series. But
Yeah.
it sure has flipped after after the two games in Indy.
Like, cause I want to say, I think Brunson's averaging one of the most minutes in the playoffs, period,
Yeah.
out of anybody. And the fact that the Knicks are forced to go with a shorter rotation than they normally would, because they got guys that are out and injured and
Yeah.
unable to play, that a fatigue would definitely play a part at some point, because Jalen Brunson can only be awesome for so many games in a row.
Right.
Like, you can't just keep having 30, 40-point games forever. Like,
No.
that's just not a thing. So
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised that the Pacers won the game. I was maybe a little bit surprised by how much they blew them out, but it just looked that Knicks looked tired. They
Yeah.
looked tired and they looked fatigued.
Because this was such a blowout, a lot of the starters, played a lot less minutes. But
Yeah.
DiVincenzo ended up with 7 points. Josh Hart ended up with 2.
Yeah.
Um, Precious Achua, who's starting as well. Now he only had 8. They just announced today that Mitchell Robinson's done. He's going to have to undergo surgery, and so they're starting to get more thin and more thin as it goes by. Alec Burks, I really liked his contributions. He's been able to come in as a
Yeah.
veteran and step up and get a lot of points and take the burden off a lot of the other guys. I'm loving Deuce McBride when he comes in. He's been a great acquisition and playing well. But this team's really burnt out. I think they can win in New York. The energy there has just been phenomenal. They
Yep.
just really feed off that, and they've looked really great this year. If OG Anunoby can come back also, they were 26-5 with him in the lineup this year, and they were under 500 with him out of the lineup. So he's been such an important piece to this puzzle, and I don't know where he stands right now, injury status, how much longer he'll be out. But if they can get him back, that will be a very, very important piece that can give them a bit of an edge too.
Yes, if he's healthy enough to come back, he can definitely give them the boost they need to win in Madison Square Garden for the next game.
Yeah. So they end up playing tomorrow, 5 o'clock tip off in New York for game 5. That'll be great and fun to watch. On the other side of the ledger, on the Western Conference, this is a different series than the New York Indy series. This is Denver coming home, first 2 games losing to Minnesota, and all of a sudden the sky's falling. The defending champions are out. This is it. Game over. Going back to Minnesota, down 0-2. And then the champions came off the canvas and showed, hey, we're not done yet. Win 2 games in a row in Minnesota, including yesterday's 115-107 win. Aaron Gordon had a phenomenal game. Jokic and Murray. Amazing sequence at the end of that first half to just sort of push them out. I think they got like 7 points in the last like 20 seconds or something crazy. Push it to a lead that they never relinquished. And it was, Denver's proving that never underestimate a heart of a champion.
Never underestimate the heart of a champion. And the greatest send off for that to go into halftime was Murray hitting the half court shot. And swished it. By the way,
exactly.
Swished it. It was, that was incredible.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the Wolves because Edwards had himself a game.
Yeah.
all he needed was a running mate. And unfortunately, he didn't have that.
Yeah. 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 There's
44 points.
so many
Dropped.
guys got double figures, but like they were getting 11 points. That's
Well,
it.
yeah.
He had 44 on his
Yeah.
own, and
Yeah.
he needed someone else to come along for the ride. We had
Mm.
double doubles from Towns and Gobert, but yeah, you're only getting 11 points, 13 points. It's
Points.
not
Not enough.
enough to be that second guy that you need to get the points. And so what's your prediction now that it's going back to Denver for game 5? What are we gonna see?
I think you're going to see one hell of a battle. But it seems to me, when it comes to the pacing of the game, that the Nuggets have figured out like how Minnesota wants to make them uncomfortable or speed them up. And I think Jokic has definitely figured it out, because I think the guy is far too high of a basketball IQ to be outdone
Right.
by the Timberwolves. Actually, just to be outdone by anybody. I
Yeah.
think you give that dude time, he'll analyze and be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just shift this or do this and do that. And the other thing that I think that helped was the 3 days of rest, because Jamal Murray just seems like he's just a different dude altogether. He's a different dude.
Yeah, he didn't look hobbled at all in that game, and the early part of this playoffs, he's been looking so hurt. Doesn't look like the Jamal of old, but this
Yeah.
last game, it didn't even look like he had any injury whatsoever. The magic of an extra day was able to seem to put him back to 100% health.
Yeah, like whatever he's doing to try to make himself right. Well, clearly that's working.
Yeah.
Clearly that's working. So I expect a hard fought game next game, but I think the Nuggets win at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the other series? The Mavericks Thunder. Thunder came in as the number 1 seed in the West. Really looking like this team is the team to beat. And the Mavericks are now leading 2-1 in this series. Game 4 is currently going on. Mavericks got a 5-point lead in the fourth quarter. It's only 75-70, super low scoring game so far. What do you think we're going to see? Is Dallas going to be able to take a 3-1 stranglehold tonight, or are we going to see a 2-2 series going into game 5?
I'm going to say 2-2 series going into game 5.
Okay.
I think OKC will tie it up somehow, some way. And I think the guy that's really going to lead the way is going to be the guy that's led the way the entire season, SGA.
Shea, yeah.
Yeah.
The Canadian looking incredible, and he's just he's been otherworldly. Second in MVP voting on the season, and having an incredible time. Who I've been most impressed with Dallas is PJ Washington. What an acquisition he's been. He's been just absolutely phenomenal. I've liked Daniel Gafford as well. 2 really smart pickups heading into the playoffs that have really been able to help so much. And I'm impressed with Kyrie, that he seems to just be more mature than I've ever seen him before. He seems to know that it's Luka's team, lets Luka do his thing. And if Lucas starts faltering or they're double teaming him too much, Kyrie starts taking over and getting the points. But the maturity is really helping this team. Kyrie is not taking dumb shots, not forcing things. He's just dishing the ball. He had a career high 11 assists last game, and it's impressive to see a guy that's not been very known for passing the ball and setting other guys up to suddenly be this guy.
Yeah, and the fact that both superstars like each other, the fact that it's not coming out that Kyrie's being misunderstood or anything of that nature. Yeah. The man's just hooping, and he's playing awesome. Like, that's the great thing about Kyrie, is like when he just does what he does, he's one of my favorite players to watch play the game.
Yeah,
because he makes it look so beautiful.
Yeah,
he does.
He sure does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm impressed with him. Like you said, I'm just happy to just see that he's enjoying the experience and the ride, and the Mavericks are benefiting from that.
Yeah. Another basketball note, LeBron James' son, Bronny James, was medically cleared for basketball activities by the NBA, and the independent doctors that are involved in this process, after having a heart, what do they call it? A heart,
Heart murmur or something
yeah,
like
heart
that.
murmur or something.
Arrhythmia.
Yeah, he had an episode where,
Yeah.
yeah, he had a heart, what I guess it's called, arrest, and
Mhm.
yeah, nice to see that he has been cleared now. He's going to go into the combine. He's going to try to showcase himself, and he's in the mix to be drafted. I think he will be drafted into the NBA this year. Won't be one of the 58 guys that will be picked, and good chance that he'll go to the G League in that first year, try to get a
Yeah.
lot of seasoning, and LeBron might finally get his opportunity to play with his son, which has been a long-term goal.
Yeah. Which is, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that he managed to stay in the league long enough so that his son could join him.
Yeah.
Like that in itself is like, what? Wait, what? What did he do now again? Oh, he managed to stay awesome for just long enough so that his son could join him in the league. Like, that is the most ridiculous thing. You can't write that. You can't even make that up. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's unreal. Amazing, incredible thing.
Yeah.
Mike Budenholzer was signed today to be the Phoenix Suns' new head coach, and will replace Frank Vogel, who was fired after the Suns got swept by the T-Wolves.
Yep.
What do
The
you think
coaches.
of this move?
Yeah, you know what? I think Barkley said it best. Like, sometimes the coaches get a lot of undue blame. I'm sorry, Frank Vogel's a very good coach. Like, what are you gonna do with that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes the players are at fault, and
Sure.
the players, like, the roster construction, I think, is horrible, and they just don't have enough depth.
Yeah.
All right, and the fact that you're depending on Booker and KD, I think those guys are awesome. They did what they're supposed to do. The third part of that element, Bradley Beal, yeah, no, that's a little bit of a letdown. So yeah, I'm glad that Mike's got a job again in the NBA, but I don't know what he's going to be able to do to make that team any better.
Yeah.
Good
What do you
luck.
think what do you think the Lakers are gonna do? Do you think they're gonna go to JJ Redick?
Sure, why not? It's like, hey, this is LeBron's guy. Like, hey, let's just give the team to LeBron, or better yet, want to be player coach? We'll bring it back for you, LeBron. You do it all.
Yeah, that would be smart. That would be really smart. Yeah, because it doesn't seem like he gets, can figure it out with any coach, really.
Yeah.
I thought with Vogel, they had it. They won a championship in LA there, and then nope,
Yeah.
turfed him out, and
Yeah.
on to the next. And doesn't seem like anybody can go there. Do you think it would be a dumb move for a guy like Reddick, though? Because if he doesn't make it there, which he probably won't,
No.
he never gets another chance anywhere else. Does he go to somewhere where the pressure's not so on? The last coach of the Lakers that left on his own free will was Phil Jackson. All the other guys have come in and been axed after a year or two. Boom, 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 boom. I don't see Reddick being Phil Jackson and leaving on his own. So, it happened with Steve Nash. He went to Brooklyn. You thought, wow, it's great to see a former player get an opportunity without having to go
Yeah.
through being an assistant and all this for many
That's
years. And it didn't work out well for him. And it doesn't look like he'll get another shot somewhere.
Yeah.
That could be the same with JJ, don't you think?
It could be the same, but I think JJ's smart enough to know it's like, yeah, that should not be my first job in the NBA. If anything, I'd look at like a team like Charlotte or something like that. I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah,
give me one of the bottom dwellers so I can work from the ground up and try to build the team up into
yeah,
the vision that I have and
yeah,
go from there. Yeah,
yeah. No, to me that makes the most sense. Yeah,
makes more sense to
I
me.
I would, yeah, go to somewhere where you can spend a few years and not have that pressure that's on the Lakers job. Um,
To win now, to win
yeah,
now.
win now, yeah, and
Right.
they don't settle for even getting knocked out in the first round or the second round. They're expecting championship or nothing, and so. Yeah, I don't think it should be done. It would be kind of fun because I've been watching their podcast
Not
and
bad.
I really like Reddick and the way he breaks things down. I think he's a
Yeah,
basketball
yeah,
savant and he's had a incredible long-term career in the NBA, but to me
yeah.
it's just a recipe for disaster for him for future possibilities of long-term coaching.
Yeah, of course. And by the way, when you mentioned Phil Jackson, so we are talking about one of the greatest coaches to have ever coached the game, who, as a coach, won 9 rings. Yeah, that guy should be allowed to just walk away whenever he wants. Okay, you don't fire that guy.
No, that's true. Yeah,
That's
good
it.
point. Very
Yeah,
good point. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. There's a few other news and notes, but let's leave it to the end. Let's get into the UFC. We had UFC in St. Louis. Great to see it there. I don't know if they've ever been there before.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. I think this was the first time. Nice to see a fight night there, and actually for it to be the largest gate for a fight night in UFC history, it's super impressive and mind blowing.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention this. Apparently, Dana White was asked, "Are you still gonna do this Apex stuff, or you just like start going to cities again, and
Yeah.
being like cool and stuff?" He's like, "Actually, we're going to start to phase out less Apex events
Yeah.
in more cities." Where I'm like, "That's what you wanted to see. That's what I want to see."
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I think that's what the majority of the fighters want to see. I
Oh yeah.
think they'd rather be cheered or
Oh yeah.
jeered, but just to have a real audience reaction as opposed to crickets. Quiet.
Yeah.
Like it's a golf game. That's what
Yeah.
it's
I
all.
mean, a guy wins and you hear about 10 people going, woohoo! Like the
Yes.
energy in St. Louis. The crowd was already pretty packed for the first fight of the night.
Yeah.
And when their St. Louis fighters came into the cage, the fever pitch that happened and some of the great moments throughout the night, the crowd was unbelievable and super, super, super loud and fun. And the energy, there's so much, it's just night and day, the difference. And I just find that you're at the apex and you do something. It's for these guys that have grown up, most of them have went to a regional circuit close to their
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
and they've seen even better crowds there.
Yeah.
You know, and it almost feels like it's at your gym, and
Yeah.
there's a few guys watching outside the cage. It's that lame, and so. I definitely feel like I'm beating a dead horse saying it week after week, but I'm so glad somebody finally asked Dana in the press conference, and he said, "Yeah, we are moving towards way more cities. We're trying to phase out the apex and make it, less of a thing." So I'm glad he recognizes it. I'm glad it's something that's finally happening, and it's been, 4 years going on, a little longer now, and yeah, we're all done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I think it played its part during COVID. It was a necessity then, but not so much now.
Yeah. So, do you remember when the playoffs happened in the NBA last year, and I ended up throwing up some pick or some t-shirts online of Jimmy freaking Butler?
Yeah. Yeah.
I really dropped the ball on not putting my balls was hot
You saw that?
on a t-shirt, and
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
could have made a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
All throughout the arena in St.
yeah.
Louis, my balls was hot. We're on a lot of people's shirts.
Shirts,
And
yeah. Saw
that
that.
was a smart man that decided to sell those t-shirts. Probably made a lot of money, and I missed out again. Pretty choked about that.
Yeah, man. I saw those t-shirts and everybody. I love how all the announcers like, oh man, I gotta get myself one of those t-shirts. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah,
And by the way, I gotta say this. Derek Lewis is probably the best interviewer post-fight.
yeah,
He is the best. And
yeah.
I love now his new celebration of taking off the fight trunks and throwing them into the crowd.
Yeah, yeah. He threw the shorts in the crowd. He threw his cup in the crowd. His cup was grabbed by a reporter who got Lewis to sign it, and he even actually got Dana White to sign it.
Oh,
And Dana was like at first like, "No, I don't
no,
want to
I'm
touch
not
that
doing.
thing. I
I'm
don't
not
want
doing
anything
that.
to do with that." And everybody was like, "You really want to catch a guy's stinky cup?" And Lewis was like, "No, my balls get hot, but they don't get stinky." Like, and so it became pretty damn hilarious. This reporter snagged it and was so proud, so happy. It's gonna be on his mantle tonight, and people are gonna come for a visit, and he's gonna be able to tell them that he just got this sweaty cup off of Derek Lewis. That's pretty insane. That's a thing that you want to collect.
Yeah, yeah. Or that's pretty insane. They'll probably put it in a glass case and be like, "Hey, you know what that is? Derek Lewis's cup, right? Awesome."
Yeah, it reminded me of the movie Ted, where
Yeah,
one of the guys had he was walking around Wahlberg around his house, and he was showing off memorabilia, pointing to pictures on the wall and different
yeah.
things that he had. And all of a sudden he goes, hey, check that out. That's probably my most prized possession. And he goes, what is it? And he goes, that's Lance Armstrong's cancerous nut. I got it bronzed. I got it bronzed, and it's in this glass case now. He's like, "Whoa, geez, what a prized possession you got there!" Oh my
Oh,
God.
I totally forgot about that. I forgot about that, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." That was good. That was good.
Unreal, yeah.
Yeah.
Memorabilia like that. Yeah, everybody else can have that. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, I'm good too.
Yeah. So yeah, Lewis, becoming famous for his post-fight antics, taking off the shorts. He mooned the crowd, I guess.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
threw his cup into the crowd. Funny on the mic, but he remains and has extended his knockout record, the most prolific knockout artist in UFC history. It took him a little longer this
Yeah.
time. He
Yes, it did.
actually decided to try to wrestle a bit and take this Brazilian taxi driver down that he called him, and held him down pretty good. Seemed to want to extend some time in the octagon, I guess. And but then he finally landed that big right that usually KOs guys. Took another victim, got another KO, and really impressed the brass, and really cemented his legacy as just one of the greatest of all time, especially one of the greatest knockout artists of all time.
Yeah, man. Like it was funny to me as I'm watching the fight. I go, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what it felt like. Like it's
Yeah.
just like it's a matter of time until he lands something big, shakes that guy's brain, rattles it in the skull, and walks away with
Yeah.
another KO.
Yeah.
And it took some time.
Mm.
And Nascimento was good at doing the grappling, holding him down, but Lewis was willing to engage in that kind of fight.
Yeah.
I think that was more to the point of that even happening in the first place. But then finally in round 3, where he said, enough's enough. I'm just gonna knock the guy out. And then that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was great. Lewis, definitely deserves main event status, and yeah, he does get very prolific, great KOs, and always love to see him. I'd love to see him against Jairzinho Rosenstrike next. I think that's the fight to make. I hope the UFC sees it that way. Do you have any other suitors that you'd like to see him fight next?
Yeah, Jairzinho Rosenstrike. You know what? He probably can't fight that guy because I think he's too high in the standings. I was gonna say Pavlovich, but I think he's too high. I think he's too high because Derek Lewis is 12 and he must be in the top 4. So yeah, no, Rosenstrike is good. I think that's a good call out. But definitely somebody that would prefer to stand and bang as opposed to wrestle. That's who I'd like to see him fight more than anything else.
As they always say, styles make fights, and we don't want to see him flopping around on his back, trying to defend takedowns and things like that. We just want to see somebody stand and trade, and somebody going to sleep early. And usually it's Lewis's opponent.
Actually, you know what? I just thought of a guy. It was the dude that was on first on this fight card. I'd love to see Lewis fight the Spaniard.
Yeah.
Maybe that won't happen right away because he is the number 12 and the Spaniard just came in. But eventually, I would love to see that fight.
Yeah. We might as well talk about that fight briefly because you brought it up. I think that they have to put the Spaniard at this point with strikers, not guys that are going to take him down.
Yeah.
And, when Waldez took him down, he was, just
nothing.
He was a fish out of water on his back, couldn't get up, didn't know how.
Didn't know the technique.
Boring fight. It really didn't turn out very well at all. After he came in and KO'd, people so quickly, you thought, this is why we want this guy. This is who we want to see. We don't want somebody to take him down. And you should take him down if that's if you want to win the fight, you should take him down. But there's guys that just won't. They just won't.
Yeah.
So I think they got to figure out a better match. And it might be good. I think you're right though. He probably needs a bit more seasoning. I'm finding because of the Dana White Contender Series, there are a lot of guys coming in a lot more raw than before this Contender Series happened. I think guys are coming in that aren't as well-rounded. They're coming in regional circuit, more 3, 4, 5 fights, and then they get that contender knockout, and boom, they're right in the UFC. And I think the UFC is gonna run into issues if they don't match make them properly.
Absolutely.
When they're coming in this raw,
you gotta build them up.
You gotta make sure you're gonna put strikers against strikers, grapplers against grapplers, not vice versa like that, right?
Yeah, because for Cortez Acosta, he was smart about it. He had a great game plan, which is like, I'm not going to put myself at risk. I'm just going to take him down.
Yeah.
And he won't be able to get up because he has no idea how to get up. So that from Cortez Acosta, his approach, absolutely the right approach.
Yeah.
But I'll say this though, I love the way that the Spaniard fights, hands low, throws hands like he's throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
And then the way he throws his kicks is almost, it feels like it's the same thing. And just with reckless abandon and pure power. Yeah. It's like Cortez Acosta is just like, I felt that. No, man, we're not playing that game. I'm playing that game.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take you down.
He had a smart game plan to get those takedowns. And the takedowns were pretty easy to happen for him. And he didn't look intimidated. He didn't look scared. He just thought, I'll weather the storm. I'll take him down. I'll grind him out. He'll get tired. And you can see the Spaniard getting very tired by the end of that. And fairly easy win. Not a great fight to kick off the main card, though, because it was pretty boring. Just, laying and praying and keeping the guy down.
Yeah, it kind of sucked. It kind of sucked because what we all wanted to see was just Cortez Acosta throw caution to the wind and say, all right, we're going to bang. But Cortez Acosta is like, no freaking way. No way. I'm going to make this a real easy fight for myself. So he did the right thing.
Smart for him. Yeah, for sure. The co-main event had Joaquin Buckley against a very tough guy in Nursultan Ruzaboyev, and Joaquin looked phenomenal.
Amazing.
I'm loving him at welterweight, and super impressive victory, getting the decision win over a really tough guy.
How come Rizaboyev looked like he was a middleweight, if not like a like he looked absolutely massive
So
compared
massive
to Buckley.
compared to Buckley. Yeah,
That,
massive.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
he's
like
so much
looking at,
taller, and holy
yeah,
cow, he can put on a lot of weight after the weight cut.
yeah. Like I'm just like, they're not even close to being in the same weight category right now. Like it was very noticeable, but Buckley, his grappling and his timing for his takedowns was completely on point.
Yeah,
That's how we won this fight.
yeah.
Obviously he did well with the distance management and the striking, but it was the grappling that really won him this fight, man. And it was impressive.
Yeah,
Impressive grappling display.
I loved it. Yeah, really great. And yeah, I'm liking him at this weight. And yeah, I was shocked because Rizaboyev just looked super massive, and he looked impressive in his other fights that I've seen. And but yeah, Buckley just was able to be the better man big time.
Yeah.
The light heavyweight fight that happened before that, Alonzo Manafield made a big mistake.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just
Yeah.
decided to rush in and try to land. He didn't, and he was sleeping quickly. This fight lasted 12 seconds. Carlos Ulberg just had to move out of the way, snap a couple shots, land two big bombs, and put Atomic out very quickly. This was, yeah, a really bad game plan by Menafield.
Yeah. It was horrible because what Olberg did was he matadored him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ole!
And then he pivoted, and the speed and accuracy of his strikes, he even hit him while he was still falling to the mat.
Yeah.
Bing, bing, bing. Like I was like, it was impressive.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see. And Menafield, he did not give Olberg any respect whatsoever, zero, and
Yeah.
he paid for it.
Yeah. I was thinking it was a little bit of an early stoppage, but then when he stood up and you could see how wobbly he was, and then the referee kind of came in close, and then he put his hands in his face, and then he was like, "Whoa, man, I hurt. My head's spinning. Oh my God, this was I'm in trouble here." And I'm like, "Okay, no, that wasn't an early stoppage. That was legit." And then they showed the whole fight about 3-4 more times, and you saw how much he connected, how accurate he was, and like you say, he was even hitting him as he was coming all the way down to the mat. And yeah, those were clean, lethal, brutal shots that he took.
Oh yeah, clean, lethal, fast, accurate, and just like he demolished him.
Yeah.
He demolished him, and that was impressive because Menafield was number 11 in the division, and he took him out like it was nothing. So
yeah,
great win.
The lightweight fight between Diego Ferreira and Mateus Rubecki. I thought this was going to be, I thought this was going to be a hell of a good fight. I thought two super tough guys. I actually thought Rubecki in a way had the upper hand. A little bit younger, and I thought a little more powerful. But Ferreira, holy cow, what a performance! Man, did he ever make Rebecki's face look like hamburger meat. That guy's gonna have black eyes and bruising on his face for weeks, and he's gonna. It was a beatdown that was unbelievable, and for him to get the finish so late too, he just really didn't just settle for a decision victory. He, really, really, really put it on him, and this was one of the best performances of the night and of Ferreira's career.
Yeah, by far and away. Like I think Ferreira had a great game plan, which was I have to weather the storm of this dude in the first round.
Early round.
That's where all his power is coming from. But once I get past this first round and he begins to tire, I think he knew that I'll be the more accurate striker. I'm the one with like I have the history of my striking being on point.
Yeah.
And I don't think he can hang with me. And the fact that after a while he began to reverse him even within the grappling, like contest that they had in that fight. I was impressed, man. Like I was just like, wow, especially once you start to see Rebetsky's face on how he was tearing him up with his hands.
Yeah.
You're just like, wow, man. Like it was impressive, and it was even more impressive that he finished him.
Yeah, that was really good because he could have easily coasted to that decision
Yeah,
win. He would have easily had it, but he
yeah,
just kept pressing the action and making sure he was getting the finish. And he got 50K for that. Olberg
well
also got
deserved.
50K for one of the performances of the night. Both those guys got the bonuses.
Yeah,
I really look forward to the Sean Woodson Alex Caceres fight. I like the way both of them fight. I think this was going to be a very intriguing featherweight battle, and it was. It was a fun
yeah,
fight.
yeah.
Woodson had the hometown St. Louis crowd behind him. He is St.
Mm-hmm.
Louis boy,
Yeah.
and I think that gave him that extra bit of ability to pull out this victory. He's a tough guy. His body is strange. He's like a daddy long legs,
Yes.
and such a squat body, long limbs, and nice performance by him, beating a veteran that's been around forever in Bruce Leroy.
Yeah. And just the way that he did it, like he just used what he has, his physical advantages to his advantage. Use that reach, use the knees when Caceres would come in wildly or recklessly at times. I was impressed with the fact that Caceres was willing to wade into the deep waters and get his strikes off, which he had to do. And it seemed to me that he was actually coming on more so in the third round than Woodson was. Like he was actually beginning to build some momentum. He just ran out of time. If that was a 5-round fight, I think Woodson actually might have been in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Caceres turned it on late, and but good win by Woodson, and that was a fun fight. Okay, the featured fight on the prelim had Chase Hooper against Slavaklaus Vladislav Borshev. Chase Hooper was super dominant in this one. He landed a big shot that wobbled Borshev early, and he ended up getting that first round. I think was like a 10-8,
10-8 rounds.
Yeah, definitely, really had him in tons of trouble. Looked very impressive doing so. And in the second round was able to get the Darce choke submission win. And Chase Hooper, looking great. I love this weight class for him. I think it's much better than 145. And he's actually looking like he's got some muscles he never did before. And the maturity and amazingly incredible performance by Chase Hooper.
Yeah, amazing, incredible performance. That's as good as he's ever looked against like a striker, like a real bona fide striker, and he dropped him and then dominated him, took him to the ground and was able to do whatever he wanted with him. I don't think in the round 2 Borshev had completely recovered. I don't think that was even possible for him. And then he took him down so quickly again, made it look easy, and ground and vicious ground and pound until he was able to wrap up that Darce choke. Super impressive win, dominant victory against a very, very good fighter.
Yeah. I was always thinking that Chase Hooper came into the UFC a little too young. He was 20. He looked like a baby face. He didn't look intimidating. Didn't look like maybe he was ready. And I think they kind of fast tracked him early on, and then he faced some tougher competition. And I think he faltered a little bit, but he's only 25. He's been in the UFC 5 whole years already, and I think the sky's finally the limit for him. I'm impressed with performances like that, and I think the UFC is finally going to be able to develop him properly. I think that he came in a little too young, but I think he's going to progress to having a really fantastic UFC career.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I think they gave him too much too soon.
Yeah.
Where they should have possibly taken the Paddy Pimblett approach, which is just like incrementally, we're
Yeah.
just going to make sure you have better competition. But I think in the same way, in the same respect, I think it somewhat benefited him because he now knows it's like, oh, that's where I need to get to if
Yeah.
I want to be great in this sport.
Yeah.
And I think he's been working diligently to get to that point, and he's been making strides, and we've seen it.
I heard him say that he normally walks around around between 185 and 190, and he was cutting to 145. So, brutal, brutal, brutal.
That's good.
155 is still a pretty brutal cut, but
Yeah.
145, that's insane.
Yeah.
And that 155 is probably the sweet spot for him. I think
Yeah.
eventually he'll go up
He'll
to
go to
170
170.
and be a
Yeah.
welterweight.
Yeah.
He might not, like, I think his height was pretty dominating at 145 and could still
Yeah.
be giving him that reach advantage and things like that at 155. If he does eventually move up to 170 once he gets into his late 20s, early 30s, I think that might be more of the weight class for him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really hate it sometimes when I see mismanagement of young fighters and
Yeah.
the issues and the problems that they have, and just to get a bit of an advantage, having to deplete yourself that
Not
heavily is
much.
pretty
I,
rough.
I,
Yeah, and
I
I don't
yeah.
think it was good, and I'm glad he's made that leap up. I think this actually is also another call for possibly the UFC implementing another weight class, because a
Oh
jump
yeah.
from 155 to 170 is so significant.
Yeah.
I always hear people say 165, but I don't think there would be a problem with like a 162 and a half or
Yeah.
163, like somewhere in the middle there,
Yeah.
so that there isn't such a big disparity between those two weight classes, and it's very hard for guys to go between those two.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like, I think there should be something in between those two weight classes.
Yeah.
Just like I think there should be something in between 185 and light heavyweight of 215. I think there should be something in between those two as well. Like,
205. Yeah.
why do we have these immense jumps in
Yeah.
weight? Like, you shouldn't have that.
Right.
Some guys just don't fit that.
No.
They don't fit that mold.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, Esteban Ribovic, a huge lethal knockout of T-Rex Terrence McKinney. Wow, this was pretty spectacular, and I don't think McKinney's ever going to remember that. He's going to have to watch it 100 times to even have a flash of it. This was one of those spectacular knockouts.
Was spectacular. Like, I love the fact that McKinney is he's either knocking people out or getting knocked out himself.
Yeah.
And that was one of the more iconic knockouts that you'll ever see, because he caught him flush with the shin to the head. I think it was shin to the chin, and he was immediately out, up against the cage, just sitting down like he was chilling. He wasn't chilling. He was up cold.
Just chilling. Yeah. Having a nap here.
Yeah. Yeah. He was out.
It was very out. Yeah. It was perfectly placed strike, and he was done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about the women's strawweight fight other than Tabitha Ricci got the victory. The baby shark against the tiny tornado. We saw Tisha's wife in the crowd, the bantamweight champion, Rocky Pennington. Yeah, anything much to mention about these two?
I actually thought Pennington won the fight.
Yeah, okay.
I actually did. I thought her movement was fantastic. I'm pretty sure she outstruck her opponent. And like, I thought she had the more significant strikes. So when Ricci was given the nod, I was like, really?
Strange, eh?
So, but that's just me. I thought Pennington won that fight, but other than that, yeah, I don't have much more to say about the fight.
The welterweight fight between Billy Ray Goff and Trey Waters was the fight of the night. It got both of them a $50K bonus, and the first two rounds were spectacular. Both guys were giving it. It was a war.
Yeah.
Waters is so much taller, so much
Yeah.
bigger than Goff. Goff had to wade into
Into the
dangerous waters,
water.
took a lot of shots to the face, but
Yeah.
landed a ton himself. When he
Yeah.
was on the inside, he was landing some lethal elbows
Yeah.
and had Waters in trouble many times. But Waters was also a very game and had Goff in trouble. And
Yeah.
the first two rounds were two of the best rounds that have happened all year. Third round, inevitably, they were tired and didn't have the full
Yeah.
extent of it. It ended great, but there was about 3-4 minutes in the first part of the third round where they were too exhausted to go at it. But
Yeah.
definitely, I thought fight of the night and a very fun fight to watch.
Fun fight to watch. Waters utilized his distance and punished Goff whenever he came inside.
Yeah.
But the fact that Goff knew that he was going to get punished and had to fight that way anyway to get his strikes off, I was more impressed by that.
Yeah.
Because he knew it's like, I got to go into the fire if I'm going to try to get this win.
Yeah.
And he went for it, and that's what made the fight.
Yeah.
The fact that Goff was willing to do that, that's what made the fight.
Yeah, no, I loved it. It's unfortunate he got the loss, but yeah, it's tough when you're fighting a guy that much taller and bigger than you. But yeah, he was a game guy, and it finished his winning streak. But yeah, I don't think he takes much of a step back because great performance and showed a ton of heart and a great chin too.
Yeah.
Charles Johnson, also a St. Louis boy. Was able to get a nice victory over Jake Hadley, knocked down Hadley, and yeah, just ground out a really good win. I love when Charles Johnson comes in. He's full of energy. He puts on very impressive performances, and good on him. He was able to do it in front of his hometown crowd.
Yeah, like I just thought that Johnson was in a great flow state with his strikes and stuff. Yeah. And then once he really got going and he really got comfortable, there was much that Hadley could do about it.
No.
Like he was literally chasing him that entire fight. Just chasing after him and eating shots. So great win by Johnson.
Yeah. Okay, the fight that opened up the card had JJ Aldrich against Veronica Hardy. Veronica has won her last 3 fights, and since she got married to Dan, she's looking really good. I think he's training her up very well. She's yeah, very impressive performances, and this was a nice win for her too.
Oh yeah, no, she was on point with her accuracy, with her striking. She looked really good with that, and JJ, I don't think she was busy enough to win this fight. And Hardy was. And I don't know if Dan is actually training his wife, but if he is, doing a damn good job of it. Yeah. Damn good job.
I heard he is. Yeah, I heard he's doing that. So yeah.
Okay. I think that's hilarious because it's like, okay, honey, you gotta beat me up again. You gotta get you better, but you gotta beat me up. All right. Yeah, right. I'm sure she's like, awesome. Let's do it.
Let's go. Bring it on.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, it was a good card. I'm glad they finally went to St. Louis, and great to see that crowd. One of the most fun I've had, seeing how much into it, and it wasn't a huge card on paper. There wasn't very many ranked fighters. It wasn't it didn't look like one of those spectacular fight nights that we see sometimes. But they came out in droves, really cheered tons for their hometown boys, and did it up well, and they deserve another fight night, if not a pay-per-view, very, very soon.
Damn right they do. The crowd showed up. They paid their hard-earned money. They got the biggest gate ever for a fight night yet. So yes, you got to go back to the Lou. You got to show those fans love. By the way, I'm just going to do a report right now.
Do it.
Game just finished. I was right.
Good.
OKC won.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
And on top of that, the one thing I love about that team, for the post game interview, the whole team was there as they interviewed.
I love that. Yeah, that's been awesome. Yeah,
that team is connected.
More teams should do that. That is very cool. I love that aspect. Yeah.
No, awesome. Just awesome, man.
196, low scoring game.
Yeah.
OKC gets the victory. Shea ends up with 34
Yeah.
to lead the way. 34, 8 and 5 from him. Chet Holmgren, great night with 18 points and 10 boards. Dort had 17. Jalen Williams had 14. And yeah, it's tied now, 2 games apiece. Luka had a triple double with 18 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. Kyrie had an off night, only 9 points with 9 assists. Yeah, very offensive night for Kyrie. And who else? Derek Jones had 17. PJ Washington had a double with 21 points, 11 boards. But yeah, this series is tied at 2 going to game 5.
Yeah. As we're doing this and I'm kind of taking a peek here and there, I was just like, yeah, I don't think OKC, like, they were down in the 4th, but I was just like, yeah, they're not going to lose that game. I just had that feeling. I'm like, they're not going to lose that game. They'll tie it up and they'll go back. So
game 5 goes in OKC on Wednesday, 6:30 Pacific kickoff for that one. So
nice.
let's just preview quickly the UFC next weekend's card. This goes back to the Apex, unfortunately, but we'll have a few more there. It's prelims 1 o'clock Pacific, main card 4 o'clock Pacific. The main event has a veteran in Edson Barbosa fighting a really up-and-comer in LeBron Murphy.
Yep.
This should be a banger. Always Barbosa's involved in those kind of fights. And yeah, I like it. It should be a great fight.
Should be a great fight. Looking very much forward to it. Styles make fights, and then that's a good one. That's a great one.
LeBron is undefeated so far, 13-0-1. Barbosa's got a 24-11 record, and Barbosa's been in with killers for the past 10 years, so
yeah.
He knows. The co-main has Kalen Williams against Carlston Harris, another really good banger. It's in the welterweight division. Williams is 14-3, Harris is 19-5. What do you think we're going to see in that one?
Somebody's going to sleep. I don't know who, but somebody's going to go to sleep.
Good. Good call. Yeah, I think you're right for sure. Anything stand out to you on the prelim card? For me, it's Magomedov, Abus Magomedov against Warley Alves in a middleweight fight. The Magomedovs are always super tough and a problem for almost everyone that they have to deal with. Anything else stand out for you?
No, I was going to point out the same fight. That fight definitely is the fight to watch, I think, for me on that prelim card. And on the main card, I just wanted to mention the Rocks boy, Thimba Garimbo, is fighting on that card. Nice. And I hope to see another win for that young man because I think he might be next up. Yeah. I think he's got everything to fight for, and he's fighting for all the right reasons, and people are respecting that and showing him love, like The Rock did by giving him a freaking house. So yeah, I expect great things from him.
Yeah. Okay, there was a big boxing fight on the weekend. Lomachenko against Kambosos Jr. What did you think? Great to see Lomachenko get the big victory, get 2 knockdowns of Kambosos in the 11th round, and he could not continue there. Loma's one of my favorite fighters of all time, and it was so great to see him prevail in this one and get another really big victory over a super tough guy.
Yeah, Lomachenko is one of my all-time favorite fighters. I think the only times that Loma's really failed is where he went up too high in weight.
Yeah.
Right? Like where it's just like, nah, okay, you are so supremely skilled, but you can only go so far with that when it comes to the higher weight category. So I think he should stay where he's best at. And that win over Kambosos, I'm not surprised at it. he is that supremely talented, and it's a great win. Great
Yeah,
win. I love it when he's relevant because he should always be relevant because that
totally.
guy is
Yeah.
that good.
Yeah, he's had a spectacular career. I can't believe how many great fights I've seen him involved in.
Yeah.
After the fight, he was asked who he thinks going to win between Fury and Usyk, and of course he chose Fury. So I was no, he of course he not didn't.
No, of
He
course he
chose
didn't do that.
he
Yeah, you
chose
talk
his
Usyk.
countryman from Ukraine,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I think he'll be front and center on that fight too, and we'll see if two Ukrainians back-to-back weekends can have some huge wins.
Yeah, we're gonna see if that can actually happen. But yeah, Usyk is going to have his hands full because, as I said before, this time Fury's taking it super serious. Like he's not playing around. So this is I think we're in for a heck of a fight.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait. Yeah. Uh, yeah, you and I are getting together and watching it,
Yeah,
and looking
yeah,
forward to that big time. On the co-main event of the Lomachenko fight, they had a 10-round battle for the WBA bantamweight champion fight. Females, Cherneka Johnson against the champion Nina Hughes. Once the fight hit the 10-round mark and they went to a judge's scorecards, um, the veteran ring announcer Daniel Hennessy came walking up into the ring and absolutely bungled it more than I ever have seen a commentator bungle it. He announced that Hughes had won the fight via majority decision, and everybody was pretty stunned and looking around like, really,
right.
honestly? And
What?
then a few, maybe not even a minute later, he realized, uh-oh, I made a
What?
mistake. Called everybody back, and he recalled it again and stormed out of the ring real quickly so he wouldn't be beat up. And it was ugly and stupid and ridiculous. I was pretty shocked at how bad of a job he did there. It was unreal.
Yeah, I saw the Insta of that, and I was just like, "Well, can you not read? Like, what? How did you get that wrong?
Yeah.
Like, I honestly thought that. Like, it's like how do you mess that up? That should be something that should never happen.
Yeah.
Never happen.
They called it a Steve Harvey move. I guess Steve Harvey a couple years ago called out the
Uh-huh.
wrong Miss Universe, Miss America or something.
Yes,
And
yeah, I think I remember that.
yeah, and so it's become sort of a verb on doing
Yeah,
making a really dumb move on the mic like that. And um yeah, he also I heard that he screwed up the scorecards on the first bout of the main card, and
yeah,
he somehow announced the wrong fighters while the guys were in the ring.
yeah.
And so I don't know if he was drinking or he was he had taken a shot to the dome in some sparring or something, or I don't know what the hell happened, but it was crazy. If you're listening or watching and you haven't seen it, check it out. It is cringe worthy and pretty unbelievable to watch. That was a shock. So
Rough
um
night at the office.
yeah, a bad night at the office.
Yeah,
I also wanted to I really wanted to make an observation that Laura
hmm
Sanko and Michael Bisping, along with Brendan Fitzgerald, really like that commentary team. Laura just keeps impressing me all the time. She does
she's
such great
killing it.
research
Yeah.
and just really adds so much to these fight nights. And yeah, I'm really glad that they've got this team together now. And yeah, she comes in and does a fantastic job.
I am just happy that they gave her an opportunity.
Yeah.
I know that she's been calling for it before, saying like I could do the job, and I'm just like, well, I remember a certain other female saying that you should let women fight. Boy, that worked out well for you. So I thought to myself, you should let her commentate.
Yeah.
They finally did, and oh, wouldn't you know it, she's awesome, crazy.
She's yeah, no kidding. Yeah, she's super great.
Yeah.
Um, they made an announcement, actually, UFC made an announcement this week that the upcoming Conor McGregor fight, UFC 303, has already surpassed the record for the largest gate ever. They've made $20 million already for this gate. And this UFC St. Louis made just over 2 million for the live gate. This one has made over $20 million, and
Where's that
no
fight, by the
fight
way?
card has ever reached that amount. So
Yeah.
it's pretty spectacular.
Where's that fight card? Is it's not in Madison Square Garden, is it?
No, no, I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it is MSG.
Okay, because
Yeah.
like that's what he, since Connor need to be in the biggest stage. So that's just why I'm like, it's got to be at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And I thought that too, because I'm like, well, they're just going to charge so much money. So that's why it's 20 million.
Yeah, yeah, big money. Yeah,
Big
I
money.
think so. Yeah, right. Okay, before we go, I mentioned the MLS. Lionel Messi came into Canada for the first time. When he landed at the airport, it caused a huge,
Oh
huge
yeah.
amount of traffic. Tons of people showed up at the airport. Tons of people showed up at his hotel to get a glimpse of him, tried to get a picture. The ticket prices were massive, and he was able to come in and play against the Montreal team, and Miami had a great performance. Messi wasn't Messi like the game before, but it really was great to see him here in Canada. And yeah, he's coming pretty soon. I guess we got 12 days away from today. He's going to be here in Vancouver, and sure creating quite the stir. And yeah, it's been fun to see him coming here.
Yeah, I love the rock star treatment that he's getting, which is what he deserves because he's one of the greatest footballers we've ever seen on this planet. So rightfully deserved, rightfully so. And he's healthy, right?
Yeah, he's healthy.
Good.
Yeah,
Stay that way.
that's what it sounds like. Yeah. He didn't get any points. Suarez ended up getting the middle goal. They ended up beating Montreal 3-2. But yeah, I think yeah, it's good if he didn't play too much and doesn't exert himself and get hurt. We need him to come here. I looked into tickets, and they're um
Where do they start?
about 700. So yeah, I doubt I'm going, but I hope somebody's yeah, all of a sudden just gonna come out of the blue and call me up. Hey, did you want to go to see Messi? And I'll be there quick as I can. May 25th, he'll be there for a game against the Whitecaps.
Okay, man. Well, you know what? As long as he plays, everybody's going to be happy. And I can't blame you for not going to see Messi. I do you want to know why? Those playoff tickets are a little bit expensive too.
Yeah, that's
Oh
true. Yeah. I've been shelling out money to see the Canucks quite a bit here. So yeah, it's understandable.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I get it.
The Whitecaps, they unfortunately lost 3-0 to LAFC on the weekend. Not a good performance. They're falling down in the Western Conference standings, and yeah, they need to inject something into this team. I think they should make a deal, try to get somebody to come over. Had such a hot start, but lately
Yeah.
they're just not generating any offense, and they're looking pretty bad. And yeah, this could be another season where the fans are very disappointed. It's a big example in Miami. Just spend some money, and you're gonna get, a huge amount of attention. You're gonna get some victories. You're gonna get the biggest crowds you ever had, and you're gonna impress everyone. That's what the Whitecaps should be doing very soon.
Hopefully they they do something about it, because right now where the direction the team is going is not in the right direction at all.
Not at all. No, not at
Yeah.
all. Okay. Final news note. The PGA held their tournament this weekend, and Rory McIlroy won going away, beat Xander Schauffele. I think he ended up beating him by 5 shots. A masterful performance. Heading into the PGA Championship at Valhalla, where he won the championship years ago. The betting favorites right now are Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and Brooks Koepka, who's coming off a victory himself on the Live Tour, and should be spectacular golf. Starts this Thursday, really early. I think I saw like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Pacific, because where the tee-offs are going to start here on Thursday. So I wouldn't stay up or get up, just record it and watch it later on. And but it's going to be some great golf. I'm glad some of the top players in the world are on their game, and it should be really spectacular coming down the stretch on Sunday. And PGA Championship, one of the majors, and very prestigious to be able to raise that trophy on Sunday.
Yeah, very prestigious. Going to be fun. It's going to be an exciting event, and every golf fan should be looking forward to it.
Yeah. They had one of the heads of the PGA Tour's board just resigned today. He said he's been trying to put together the agreement with Live, and the Public Investment Fund has finally just realized that his involvement is not going to get him there, and he ended up deciding to resign and let somebody else take over. It's very frustrating for everyone that really was excited about this merge, and it just keeps getting pushed forward and forward and farther into the future. And some people are just lost their patience. They lost one of their top executives today, and I don't know if they're ever going to come to an agreement. It's just too bad seeing the game so fractured like this.
Yeah, it sucks, but it's very telling for him to just say, "Yeah, I'm good. I've had enough." That tells me exactly where the negotiations are, where they're at right now, which is like nowhere good.
Yeah.
Nowhere good.
His name is Jimmy Dunn. He was the architect of the initial agreement that they had put together. Ends up resigning. This was about a year after orchestrating that deal. I think it was June the 6th, I believe, that they made the announcement. Almost a full year. And he finally just said, I'm done from the policy board. Sent it packing. So, okay, man. Well, another great podcast as always. We covered the world of sports, and it was a lot of fun. And it's going to be a great week. We get to work on the biggest, best show in the world, and we get to get ready for some Canuck games this week. We get to get ready for Fury Usyk that we've been waiting for years. Can't wait to run it out with you. It's going to be a blast. Thanks.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fantastic. And more basketball too to be watched and had, and looking forward to all of it.
Cool, man. Okay. Have a great night. Thanks again. Take care. All right.
Care.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have reached the end. Another great podcast episode. Thanks so much for your tuning in and sticking through it, and hope we entertained you. We had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. I want to say thank you to our partners and sponsors. Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Just go there and you can do what Jason and I just did. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company. Want to say thanks to them. They are the industry leaders in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is a must-have for anyone that plays hockey in your family or friends. Pampas and Possibilities, they are designers of West Coast beautiful things for your home. They can really spruce it up and make it look great. We highly recommend them. They do fantastic work for that. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. And you can find those products on our website at discounted rates. We love them here. You'll love them there. Take care of yourself. Have a great week ahead. We will talk to you very soon. Love you, and bye for now.